I find it funny sometimes when walking into different organizations and taking a look at their Active Directory structure and finding every person in the IT department a member of the domain admins group. Well, you see that happen in a lot of places. You see also users that just use the administrator account anytime they're trying to do something with advanced privileges. And all of these are examples of terrible security and terrible auditing ability for any of the users that might be doing things. In a well-run organization, it's better to create separate groups that users are a member of so that you can discreetly identify the tasks that a person should do, as opposed to giving every single person complete keys to the kingdom. This is an example of delegation of control, so being able to define specifically what a group of users should be able to do, whether or not they're a member of IT or not. So let's say, for example, in this example of delegation of control, that we're taking a look at this company users organizational unit that we created earlier. And the idea here being that this company users OU should be the location where all of our regular users end up being located. So the Jason account, the Don account, and the Greg Shields account. If I move these over here and then complete this process, now I've got what is effectively an organization full of users and also user groups. Let's say also that I've created a group here called IT, and rather than giving just domain admins privileges to create users in this organizational unit and to change the membership of things in this OU, I really want to dial it down so that I have a subset of people that are perhaps not extremely untrusted, but that are partially trusted, not so much at the domain admin level, but at a level that is commensurate with the types of things that they need to do. Maybe this is the help desk and the IT help desk that needs to add and remove people from groups and just create accounts. When this is the case, and it really should be the case in every situation, one of the ways in which I can provide that access is by running what is called the delegation of control wizard. Now earlier, when we introduced this whole module, I mentioned that you have to be very careful with this delegation of control wizard because it can be very difficult to locate and then rip out any of the delegation of control that you create using the wizard. So I'm going to show you how this works, but be very careful anytime you go about making any changes here because locating what you've changed can be really challenging. And I'll show you why here in just a second. Let me choose the next button because what I want to do here is for the company users organizational unit, I want to give my IT group access to perform various tasks. So let me add in here the IT group. That's my group. And then the tasks that I want that IT group to perform are these following common tasks, like creating, deleting, and managing user accounts, resetting the passwords, reading the user information, and then managing the groups that are also existing here inside of this organizational unit. I could further come down here and create custom tasks to delegate as well. However, this gets really complex in just the sheer number of possible tasks that you could enable or disable. So we'll keep things relatively easy here with just the common tasks that I would want to give that subset of users that are not domain admin caliber, but still need to be able to work within this organizational unit. If I choose next and choose finish, I've now gone through and provided the delegation of control to that IT group. Now, as I said, the hard part is finding this stuff after you've applied it. And so let me show you here if I bring up the advanced view, the advanced features here in Active Directory Users and Computers, so that we can take a look at more or less what we've just done. Once I turn on the advanced features here and go back to view properties, there are a number of additional tabs that appear here in the list for my organizational unit, and again over for any groups that I may create. The important one here is the security tab, which you can see here we now have a group called IT that has some special permissions that have been assigned down here at the bottom. Those special permissions relatively difficult to find because as you look down here, it's create, delete group objects, create, delete user objects, full control on the various items that we've configured for this group. So pay careful attention anytime you're using that delegation of control wizard because it will go about creating a variety of additional permissions that exist here in the list, but also recognize that trying to figure out exactly what you've done is something you might want to document as you're going through the process. I do also want to show you that for an individual group, I can also take a look at, with advanced features turned on, some additional tabs that appear here in the list of properties for that group. Not the least of which is the security tab, which allows me to provide additional discrete permissions for users or groups that are on the group object itself. So this is not the membership of the group, but actually the things, the actions that you could apply on that group. Many of these are not entirely obvious, so you'll have to kind of poke around to see which ones you're interested in, but at least this is the location where you would go to modify permissions in order to, for example, give a user the abilities to add and remove membership from this group. So I would be aware that the delegation of control wizard exists, that it is something that you would apply to, for example, an organizational unit of users, and then I would be very careful anytime I'm trying to use it in production.